fact about Tori, she has only 2, I believe now. Only 2 warts, or is it back to 3?
It's really just one.
Oh.
One big old man.
So originally when I first met Tori, everyone around her knows she had like 3 warts on her feet, or her 1 foot.
Yeah, but it
was from dance, and it's one of those things, if you're a dancer or do gymnastics, I think I even got a wart once from gymnastics. Like, it's kind of just like,
I used to have many,
really?
many, like upwards of like 8 to 10 on both feet.
On the feet exclusively?
Only exclusively I've ever had like planters, which is like a type of a wart, like on the feet. Thankfully, that's nasty. Like, you know the people that have them on the hands, like in Spy Kids when that little boy has the hand warts? Yeah. That I would not be aligned with. However, the feet
You're
ones...
not concerned by it. That's the fun fact. She doesn't care to get them dealt with. She just goes, it's a part of me. Whereas, I mean, I'm not trying to wart shame here. Like, I've, again, had my fair share of warts, but it was definitely something I went to the doctor avidly to get removed. But I just almost appreciate the fact that the warts are a part of you, but now we're down to 1.
It could be time. Like, now that I just have 1 left, I'm wondering, is it time that I say goodbye and I go get it checked out?
Get it, like, frozen off or, like, a scalp wool? What do they do? I think they froze mine, I think, like, with, like...
Yeah, they freeze it and then they, like, rip the skin out.
Yeah, but you know what you should do? I remember actually what worked for mine is if you have duct tape and you put duct tape on the wart, it almost, like, it can't breathe and it dies.
Stunning. I could do that.
Yeah, just like a little square of duct tape, pop it on, and you're good.
Wow, that's so random.
Well, now that we have our foot health in check, let's roll the intro. Well, welcome back to Poddy Talk, the podcast where we should talk ourselves. I'm Jack.
And I'm Tori.
And this is our first episode of the new decade.
This is season 3.
Oh, I hate when she calls them seasons. There's no seasons on podcasts.
We're back. It's season 3.
Comment down below if you also agree that there's no seasons in podcasts.
But it's
just
fine.
Continuous.
It's how I enjoy it. So
okay.
Let's just...
You know what? I'll give you that. I'll let you enjoy your warts and your seasons and all of the fun quirks about you that make you who you are.
Amazing.
I'm in a great mood today. I'm feeling super chipper and like really excited about it.
Wow! It's like one of those.
You know what it is? So we had a little 2-week, 3-week hiatus now, and I honestly really craved and was missing the routine of filming this every week, and I think I honestly thrive better when I have more of a schedule.
Okay, yeah, I love that. I enjoy.
I didn't miss it at all.
Yeah, well, not that. I really enjoyed the vacation.
Yeah.
I feel like it's
you were
necessary.
Away in Mexico.
Yeah, I guess it also breaks it up. I think when you're sitting at home, it can be a little
mundane.
Sucky.
It can sucky.
It can be the worst. Well, because it's boring and you're alone and everyone's out of town. So what do? You just sit and twiddle your thumbs while everyone else is having a great old time in Mexico.
Totally. And we always say we're the type of people that both recharge by being around other people.
Yeah.
So being alone for 5 days, that's my form of torture.
Right. Yeah, that I could see that being really hideous.
So I was stuck home. I was actually really looking forward to it because I think towards the end of December, I always kind of, not joke around, not that it's something to joke about, but I feel like I always fall into a seasonal depression every December. And I was like, you know what, guys, I'm feeling good, but I was definitely feeling burnt out from work. So I was really craving a nice break, and it was really good. At the beginning of the Christmas break, I went and visited a bunch of like my hometown and my family and did all like the good family stuff, which I feel like is always like really just, it's a good reset to be around like, your family and just be a human again.
Yeah.
So that was really good. And up until so my mom's birthday is the day after Christmas. After about that day and leading into the New Year's, I got a horrible cold. And I feel like I was sick all of December, which I think is, again, also a sign that your body has been working too much and like needs a bit of a break.
Yeah.
And my body just had a breakdown. I was out for 7 days solid on the couch, snotty, gross. I didn't want to see anyone else because I didn't want to get anyone sick. And it was those days that I was like, this is miserable.
This is the worst life I've ever lived.
But you, on the contrary, were in Mexico. Tell me about it. How was the trip? How was everything?
Well, before we jump into that, I forgot to tell you this, and I'll just pick the bone live on the podcast because you're going to find it so funny. So when over the break, I was like uptown a lot. Like I tend to like go live up at my parents' house like over the break.
Did you find my weave?
No.
Oh.
Well, I haven't been there since I told you I haven't.
That's what you were going to say.
No, you're going to find this funny though. Who's the host on Hockey Night in Canada?
like Don Cherry.
Yeah, but the other guy.
Ron
McClane, is that his name?
Something like that.
The other guy, but he's like the one.
The one that's not fired?
The leader, yeah, the leader. So not to them as like people, but essentially I was chatting with my dad about the podcast. He's always like curious about like what's new with it and what's going on. And he goes, yeah, so Tori, wanted to mention this to you and not sure if this was planned or not, but is it planned that you're kind of secondary to Jaclyn on the podcast? Like you are the Don Cherry to her Ron McClane? And I was like, no, it's unplanned. I was like, no, that's not.
Don't let her steal my start.
I was like, it's unplanned. And he's like, no,
Wait,
it's not a bad thing. I just was confirming that was just naturally how it went. I was
So
like,
just saying that I'm overbearing and talk too much?
no, that you lead the conversation, not in a bad way, in a good way. Like you're like, you lead the conversation and then I follow. And I was like, thank you, Dad, for the feedback.
Noted.
I am Don
like
Cherry.
The best
he was fired.
to
No,
receive.
I know it's almost like not that. Like I was thinking more like Step Brothers. Like I'm the Will Ferrell to your, like the one that like you set up the joke and then I knock it out of the park.
I think we definitely do have a dynamic naturally that you also though like you had the fun spice and the zest to it.
Right.
And you'll go there and I'm more not reserved but more like
Yeah, what is that called in
structured.
Comedy? Like you always have the person.
I'll set up the joke and you're the one that hits the home run.
Yeah, but there's like a name for that, which I unfortunately
We
don't
know,
remember.
but- oh, I love it. Look, there's more tours in the building.
Oh, stunning. Anyways, I thought that was hilarious. I also just love any of my dad's notes because I just find them funny.
He's a good person to give feedback. It's funny because we're so different because I mean we're both really close with both of our families, and with my mom and dad, I have gotten to the point because I've been doing YouTube for about 4 or 5 years now, and especially with YouTube, I felt like not that they were critical. They're very great because they are so attentive and they're totally the type of parents that will like watch all my videos. They want to see everything that I'm doing and like are really supportive in that aspect, which honestly is really great because I definitely would not want the opposite of that. But it got to a point, I'd say about 2 or 3 years in, where they would always be making comments or in a nice way would remind me like, oh, by the way, you said you would link.
Oh, you just spit on my
I
literal
really?
face. Happy New Year to me.
I'm sorry, I didn't even notice that they
fine.
did that.
I'll face this way for safety.
Well, you're lucky I'm not sick anymore, so you're
True.
not infected.
True.
I just like spit on you, you instantly fall sick.
Oh, I feel
Start
ill.
vomiting on the spot. Now you're just not gonna look at me for the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, I'm
okay.
Oh my God.
Anyways, so my dad or my mom would always be like, hey Jack, look, you said you were gonna put this in the description box and you didn't do it. Or they would always like send little notes like that. And it got to the point where I was like, guys, it's honestly super annoying. Like I know that it's coming from a place of you just wanting to help me out and being on my side, but it's annoying if someone's hypercritical and they're not even trying to be critical, but just like over analyzing everything. I'm like, stop, like no, like if it's wrong, I'll figure it out and I'll fix it. Or like
That's fair.
You know, so it got to a point where I was like, you know what, like unless something is like horrifically like I
Wrong.
need attention, like let's just let those little things go. Like it's better
Fair.
for me to not feel like you're on top of me or watching all of my work or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like a conversation that we had to have. And whereas it's opposite now, so even with the podcast, there was a few errors or some things that we did wrong. And I mean, I'm sure you guys, if you guys are avid listeners, know that we've had some audio issues and just some little blimps along the way as we've been learning to do the podcast.
Yeah.
And there was huge errors, and my mom caught them and was like, oh, you had an hour of dead space on the end of an episode or something.
Yeah.
But didn't flag it. And that would have been something that I would have wanted flagged.
Well, that's what
like,
I'm saying. It's like, know your moment to flag.
well, now she's too scared though to like kind of
'cause
criticize because I'll be like, stop criticizing me, stop, you know,
Right.
which fair enough. It's kind of like a double-edged sword. There's no winning. But there was a few moments like that where I was like, Mom, like, hey, those are actual concerns that need to be brought up because if you caught that, like, that's an error we would want to fix.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's the opposite dynamic of you and your father because your father's really great at giving you a lot of feedback.
Yeah,
and,
his
and
are
you're
also
receptive to it. Though.
Yeah, his are also usually not as technical. It's more like thematic, which I prefer. Like I feel like the technical stuff, it's gonna be up to us to figure that out. I get it. Like
Right.
sometimes we'll be like, oh, the audio is bad, but you obviously know that. So like
Sure.
that's not something that I have to speak to. But I think thematically, because we're on this end of it and we don't always know how it's being perceived on the other end, I really like to have that audience member that can say, huh, it read more like this, or like, huh, you're the Don Cherry to her Ron.
Right.
Like figure out those dynamics. And I appreciate that because I can't see that from the inside.
Yeah, I also think too that's why I love spaces like YouTube where it is very community based and there are comments because I find a lot of my work, whether it's like YouTube videos or things like that, I don't want to say that it's directly like I don't want to say that okay someone makes one type of comment and then all of a sudden I'm completely revamping what I'm doing, but definitely when I see common ideas or topics or criticisms that are on my videos, it definitely is something that I'm conscious of and will in some way kind of restructure.
What's an example of one that you've restructured?
So for example, when I was posting interviews on my channel, sometimes I'll have talent on or musicians, things like that. And in the earlier days when I honestly didn't really know what I was doing and just kind of winging it, I would get comments that, oh, you're cutting people off a lot when you speak. Like, and again, it was coming from a place of excitement. I was like so excited to like connect with them and be like, oh yeah, I totally know what you're talking about. But it was honestly like I was stepping over them.
Before,
and the thing is, especially in an interview setting, it's different, I think, if it's a dynamic of like, say, me and you getting ready and doing just like a best friend video or something like that. But when it's an interview, that is the talent. The video is about them. And if I'm like, it's not supposed to be about me. I am the host to get good content out
about
of them.
Yeah.
So I need to kind of like check myself sometimes. And there were a few comments. And at first, I think it's easy when it is criticism to kind of like let your ego get in the way and be like, no, well, they just don't understand. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I was connecting with the person. But I think it's actually really, really dumb to do that because that type of criticism is actually valuable.
Totally.
And a lot of people normally are really positive about it. They're like, hey, Jaclyn, I just think in the future, like, it'd be really nice if you
did let people really nice if you were better at your job.
No, but seriously. So I think there is like a good balance of listening to criticism, but also like staying true to what you, like the core of what you're doing. But also there are so many valid criticisms. And I think, especially in today's day and age, there's so much attention on every single thing that you do. Audiences hold you to a higher standard, and I think it's a good thing. Be better. I agree. That was my 2019 resolution.
Yeah,
be better.
Just be better. That's it. Well, anyways, thanks, Dad. We love the support. So, and I'll keep being Ron.
Again, not something I think you want to claim to your name.
Not at all. I don't know the technical term. I'll just be Will Ferrell, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that's a better one. I can accept that one.
Yeah.
But should we dive into Mexico? Because I actually want to hear more about your trip. It was really sad. I feel like we spent every day together, and then I was literally apart from you for about 2.5 weeks, and I was like,
and then I was gone.
Something doesn't feel right. My other half.
Yeah, Mexico was hilarious. It was good. I mean, the first couple of days were spent just under the palms reading Michelle Obama. Great novel. Highly recommend Becoming to anyone that's trying to become. And no, it was like a really insightful book. And like we briefly talked about it. I know you didn't finish it.
I'm going to.
It moves a little slow, but the end is so great because she really talks about what it's like to be First Lady and her experience. And I guess my biggest takeaway from the novel was that she was never, firstly, interested in being First Lady. Secondly, hated politics. Thirdly, like this was totally Obama's mission and not hers. And she was just like a silent supporter. And like thrust into it because of her love for him, which so in its depths was just kind of this like deep love story of how she put her entire life on hold for him. Not that that's like a great message, but it's a message and it's I think interesting. And like keeping the family together and making sure the girls were okay. Like it was a very interesting kind of, and she went through so many ups and downs. Anyways, great book, highly recommend. So
I find her really fascinating as a
Same.
person. She's definitely someone that whenever people go, oh, like if you could have dinner with one person, she's up there.
Yeah, I find her very fascinating.
And especially with her time in the White House, like there's so much behind the scenes that I would love to have like an off the record dinner with her.
Totally.
And just, like, chat everything through. I was talking about this with my mom too.
Her book was kind of like that. Like she talks about how she was like sneaking out of the White House with her daughter. Like there's funny moments
Kate
like that.
Middleton is another person that I would love to. I feel like the royal family is even more like on the DL.
Oh yeah, Kate I would not actually want to meet.
Oh really?
Yeah, because it's like fake niceties. Like I actually hate people
I would love
like
that's
that.
what I'm saying, an off the record dinner. And I was chatting about this with my mom because my mom's like very, some people that are just very into the royal family. Like my mom's one of those people.
Oh.
She like finds it fascinating and like loves watching all the movies and documentaries about it and stuff. But it's so true. She is someone that I feel like there's a lot of like mystery around how the whole, like what the rules of the royal family is like. So that is
she does it very well.
And she's
so good at her job.
Exactly.
Because her job is literally to be that kind of like stoic, mysterious, like you don't know me, I don't know you.
And like don't let anything crack you under the like crazy pressure.
I feel like Meghan is much more like a human in that sense. Like Meghan Markle, like
we understood her as an actress before. And she had so much more of we knew her as a personality before. Whereas someone like
royal.
Kate, I mean, the general public didn't really know her until she was thrust into. That would be a lot of pressure. Would you ever want to be involved
in the royal family? I don't know. I guess never say never Justin Bieber, but then also
to quote Justin Bieber.
To quote Justin. But I don't know. Like I think if I had a choice, I would not actively pursue it.
I agree. I think if like love led you to the royal family, then love does what love does. But I think that would be a very
unless I'm going to be queen, which I can't be because of my lineage, then
there's
I'm sorry.
No point.
There's no point.
Yeah, no, definitely would be such a high pressure.
Actually, Michelle talks very fondly of the queen in a lot of the book, which love that news. Cause
I mean, I would don't get me wrong, I would love to do a dinner take me to Buckingham for a dinner.
Well, Michelle told a funny story about how she, I guess, touched the queen, which is very like tisk tisk in that setting because you're not actually supposed to touch the queen. Yeah. And there's a photo of Michelle kind of, like they're having a moment because the queen made a joke about how Michelle was so tall.
Yeah.
And then Michelle obviously took the moment to have that connection. But I guess there was photographers around because it was like a public media dinner. And they took a photo. And then all over the press, it was Michelle Obama touches Queen Elizabeth. And it was this whole thing. And Michelle's thinking, this is just hilarious to me. Like we were having a female moment, how both of our feet were hurting because we're women in heels. And it was this like kind of bonding moment.
Right.
And so, I don't know, I just thought that was hilarious.
I would love to hear all the rules, like, when you're in the presence of the queen, like, what is and not okay. Like, I would be terrified to be in that position.
Yeah, you're not allowed to touch her. You have to
if she feels
refer to her as Her Majesty.
Human.
No, she said she hated it because apparently at one point Michelle tried to get into a car and she said, Barack, why don't you go in the front? The queen said to Barack, why don't you take the front seat? Which would mean that Michelle would have to sit beside the queen. And then Michelle was thinking, oh my gosh, they told me I can't sit beside her. What do I do? But then the queen, I guess, could sense her eyes and her look. And she said, oh, honey, don't worry, come sit beside me. And she welcomed her to like break the rule. But yeah, what?
Yeah, that seems like
how many rules do you have to follow? I don't know. I'm gonna start enforcing them, honestly. Call me Her Majesty and don't sit beside me in the car.
Every time I see you, I have to curtsy to you.
I'd appreciate that energy for sure.
God. Anyways, we digress. Mexico.
Yeah.
Circle back.
That was it. Michelle was great.
Read the book?
No, yeah, read the book. Mexico was great. Ended up on a couple adventures that were, you know, just, you know, yeah. I went. The long and short of it was we had this sort of like VIP boat ride that we were supposed to take across to another island, and we got on and where I was in Mexico was off the Pacific Ocean, and there was a big sort of torrential downpour / typhoon the day before.
/ tsunami.
Yeah, it was awful. It was raining all day. So by the time the following evening, and keep in mind we were leaving at 7 p.m., so the sun had already set it was really pitch black, and we were supposed to go over to this, I kind of coined it the Survivor Island because it's just fire pits everywhere, like the sort of the tribe has spoken. Yeah, like that's it. And the whole energy of the island was just fire. Like there wasn't a lot of light. It was all just fire based.
You know, my life goal is to get on Survivor one day.
Oh, stunning.
I would love that.
So you would have loved this island. But anyways, what happened was we were taking this sort of 45-minute hour boat ride from our side of the island across to this tiki Survivor Island, and we got out into the Pacific Ocean within 3 seconds, and the waves were just tsunami like. It was shocking.
This is dark at night?
Pitch black, stuck in the middle of the ocean, like wave, wave, wave. My sister and mom were puking up buckets. Like it was just...
How long was the actual boat ride across?
An hour.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so there was no holding back. And because you're going into the wave, like, you know, when you're following the waves on the way back from the island, it was a little better because we were just zooming along. Like, you know, when you're wakeboarding and you go into the wave, you can really ride it. But if you're going
against it,
you're just literally fighting it. So yeah, it was really awful, and I was just trying to stay headstrong through the whole thing. Luckily,
do you get ocean sickness often or no?
Not nearly as much as I would say some people do.
God.
I feel like I felt more sick of the anxiety of the situation of I'm gonna have a Titanic sink. You know what I mean? Like more the idea of like this boat will literally flip
it's
over.
Dark, it's cold,
it's pitch
rocky.
Black. I don't see.
I think I have a fear of oceans. Like when I hear you even talk about that, like I get like, I don't know what it is.
You would have hated the situation. I was fine. Not fine.
Was
I
it
kind
worth
of hated
it when you got to the island? Like, what was the experience?
The island was fun. We saw this like live show, sort of like a Cirque du Soleil type show, which was really good. And then we had like a candlelight dinner with the whole family. So like that experience was fine. But on the way back on the boat again, because again it's all like outdoorsy. Like it's not a covered boat, if that makes sense. So we went zooming back, and now because we were following with the waves, we were going a lot faster. But it was 11:30 p.m. on the Pacific Ocean, like freezing cold. So we just weren't dressed properly, like similar to what we're wearing now, like a simple little light jacket. And so we were just absolutely frozen. So I mean, the whole experience, like probably worth it, but the whole family was kind of rolling their eyes, thinking,
See, I've only ever really had a proper, I guess, boat experience when I went on a cruise with my family. Like I must have been in grade 3. I was quite young, but I just remember I was seasick. It was like one of those Disney cruises for like 5 or 7 days. And I just remember I was sick the entire time. So I'd be so curious.
Oh, then you would probably be worse now.
I don't know though. I'm curious if it's something like you can grow out of, or I would like to do it again to experience if I can handle both.
Seasickness is really something. I mean, I was like okay, but I was taking like deep yoga breaths to be okay. And I have a pretty tough stomach. Like I'm not that
Yeah.
queasy as a person. So, but yeah, shocking. And then the next day we also had sort of an adventure day, which went kind of awry, as you would say.
I love that word. Love that word.
But basically we had to meet the tour guide at a gas station at 7:35 in the morning in the middle of Mexico, and it was just my boyfriend, my sister, and her boyfriend going, because we decided we'd do sort of like a double date day, and like just us went, and the rest of the adults and my brother stayed back at the hotel. And so we arrive at this gas station and we just kind of see like all these ratchet kind of cars, and I'm like, where are we, first of all? And then I kind of turn and this guy goes, Webster family? And I'm thinking, okay, you know our name, so we must be going with you. But then I turn around and he has this sort of like tuk-tuk like situation.
It was more of like a makeshift tour.
Yeah, like
wasn't
a makeshift.
as professional
Well,
of
yeah,
a
it was like a
experience.
bus, but it was an outdoor bus. Like there was
Okay.
no walls.
Like a TMZ tour guide bus
Literally,
in LA.
but then not even that legit. Like way less legit than that. And so we're like, okay, so we hop on now. It's only 8 a.m. The sun still is just
How did you
rising.
find this experience and like book it?
Through our hotel. It wasn't
okay,
like
so it was, like,
overly
recommended.
sketch. Yeah. But then we're on this bus ride. We take a 2-hour bus ride. And again, back to the same issue. We're absolutely freezing cold because we're zooming along in this car on the outside in this light jacket. The sun is not risen. We're going south into the mountains. So it's getting colder and colder. My sister was turning blue by the time we like barely got there.
God.
And then by the time we landed where we were supposed to go, we went ATVing, which was actually super legit. Very
love
down
that.
for
That would
that.
be fun.
And it was off-road ATVing. So we're like in the mountains. So you're like zooming, but like all
Is it
of
super
the
dirty?
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say it seems
You're like going through water, like all the roads are uneven and you're zooming along, and then as you
have
turn,
masks on, or?
no, as you turn, you're like cliffside. Like it was sketch AF, but like phenomenal.
enjoy it?
Yeah, I had a great
I feel
time.
like you're slowly turning into a thrill seeker.
Yeah, I feel like I am
You're open
safe
to it.
as a person, but when I'm set in that scenario, I can really get into it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was anxious at first because you're not used to it. Like I've done a lot of ATVing, but not off-road ATVing. Like I've done it like at my aunt's farm, like on like regular grass, like
Right.
going to the
Not, like,
barn.
all terrain.
Yeah, well, I've never done sort of like uphill, downhill
Yeah.
through the water. Yeah, the
Well, it's
all-terrain
also scary
vibe.
being at like the edge of a cliff. Like I could die.
Yeah, and it was also like the big ones. Like they were like the nice machines. But yeah, it was at first I was like, oh, but then I was like, oh no, I really like this, and then I kind of like got into it. Then we also did some zip lining, did a little more adventure stuff.
You were there for New Year's over it too, right?
Yeah, they did like a super nice sort of buffet style party and like lots of live music, dance floor, the whole shebang.
Are you someone that likes
fireworks?
New Year's? Are you very like New Year? New
No,
me?
I like not really. I mean, I feel like it's one of the holidays I actually am very underrated about. Like I feel like I make a huge fucking deal about my birthday. I make a huge deal about
Sure.
Christmas. Like there's so many, like Halloween, love it. I feel like there's a lot of holidays I really get on board with.
True.
New Year's is just not it for me.
I guess the actual like celebration, I'm not too tied to the idea of like it has to be this crazy party. Like I don't really care necessarily what I do, but I love the whole idea of it, and especially
Yeah.
this year because it was like new decade, like everyone.
It was fun.
I like the mental idea of a fresh start, a new year.
Yeah.
It just like resets life.
No, for sure. I like the idea of it. I just think as a holiday, I'm not overly strict about it. Like I don't really care what I wear. I don't really, which I feel like is
Sure.
very different for how I would treat another holiday. But
That's true.
Maybe it's also because I am always away and I'm always
Yeah.
with my family. Like I can literally say the last 10 years, the last decade, I've spent New Year's away on a separate
vacation.
island on
Yeah.
vacation, which I think is better because you're just away from your personal life and you're you're in
Same.
your own little magical
Well,
world.
last year was one of the first years that I was home for New Year's. 'Cause
That would suck to
Same
be in
things.
Toronto.
We normally do our family vacations. Oh, this is why we don't have the plate here, because when you pick it, it makes noise.
Oh, yeah, don't touch it.
Oops, it's hard. I feel like I get so relaxed when we film this. So last year was one year that we were home, and it is so true. I feel like everyone kind of jokes about like the time between from Christmas Day to New Year's. It's like this weird floating in time kind
Yeah.
of space where you don't really know what to do with yourself. And
Yeah.
again, like you were saying, like now that I was home this year, I was like, none of my friends are here. It's kind
Yeah.
of cold. I was also sick by that point, so I didn't want to see anyone anyways. But it's just like weird kind of limbo. I'm like, what is happening? Should I be doing
what do I
something?
do?
Like,
Yeah.
it's like a weird. It was a weird New Year's for sure this year.
Yeah,
but-
it's phenomenal to be away. Like that is like my favorite part about it. Honestly, I'm getting to the point where I could be away for Christmas if I wanted to. Like
yeah,
I don't.
we normally always were away
Yeah.
for Christmas too. Like I kind of.
I think when you're a kid, you obviously want to be home, but I
Yeah.
don't. I'm not like overly attached to it. I like spending Christmas at home because it's nice to like be with the whole family and like whatever, but I could be convinced.
I also just like love the idea of, I mean, a lot of these very commercialized holidays, you look at like all the travel rates, and always at Christmas, that's when things are triple the price.
Expensive, yeah.
And like, I just love the idea if as a family you just decide that Christmas is like January 3rd, or you just you create your own holiday, so then that way you can travel over the like less peak times. And it's kind of what we did this year, because part of my family, like my cousins and stuff, they were away actually over Christmas, so we ended up having our big kind of holiday visit. Actually, it was on New Year's, because we went to their house and I was like dying and I felt so snotty and gross. But we were just talking about the idea that, oh, by this point all the gifts are 50% off, and it's like Boxing Day and like so much cheaper to live life. And it's like, why don't we just decide it's a different day?
It's
like,
true.
It doesn't really matter the calendar date. It's the fact that you're spending a day together, you know?
Yeah, we're also just like old enough that I'm not even like really, we're not like hugely into Christmas anymore as a family. Like it's just kind of like.
I feel like, well, always, Christmas was never for our family. I think you're kind of very similar. Like it was never, we weren't a religious family growing up, so it was never, like we didn't go to church or anything.
Well, exactly, yeah.
It was, we did Santa. That was what Christmas was, which was just the experience of the gift giving.
Yeah.
And like waking up on Christmas. And there is something like super beautiful about that as a kid. Like I have such great memories of that. But it's just more like the holiday vibe, like being there with your family wherever there is. Like I don't think there needs to be.
We went for like a big family walk on Christmas, and my dad was like, so tell us, what was the favorite gift you've ever received, like when you were a kid? Like what's your most memorable Santa gift? And I was like, oh my God, my purple electric guitar. And then he's like, you used that guitar like 3 times. But it was and I was like, but it was the best gift ever.
You know what was so good? I was talking about this even with my mom over the holidays, because we were chatting about Christmas, and we were definitely a family, like we did Christmas, and as a kid, I always felt like we were so incredibly spoiled. But looking back, when I would compare to say like my friends or whatever, they'd be getting like MacBooks and like bigger gifts.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Oh, see, and we were not like that at all. But it's so funny in hindsight. I was like, I felt like we were waking up to so many things, and I see videos, but it would be like, I would ask for like, say, like there'd be one bigger gift.
Yeah.
But still, like the biggest gift I think I ever got for Christmas was, say, a digital camera, which at the time, that's probably about a $400, $500 item, which to me as a kid was like I won the lottery.
Of course.
But then, and like then I say would ask for like a football, and then I would ask for like some clay for an archaeology like thing that I was doing, like little things like that. But I guess as a kid, you don't really have like a gauge of prices. And then in hindsight, as I got older, I was having conversations with my mom. I was like, that's so crazy. Did you ever feel pressure? Because I think my parents also did a really good job. I mean, we were like a middle class family, but never a big spending family. Like we never buy lots of things. And if there was an item that I wanted, like it was like I had to save up for it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I said, did you ever feel pressure? Because say my friend over there was getting a MacBook, a new camera, a lot of like tech, and then like all these name brand clothes. I'm like, did you feel pressure as a family? And she's like, no, it was always interesting because we never did that. And I got into the conversation too of like all these other celebrations, whether it's Valentine's Day and Easter. And I remember I was always a little confused as a child because see, my cousins would get like actual gifts on Easter as well.
I did.
Oh, see, no,
we had the Easter Bunny. We had like Santa, but like Easter Bunny.
Well, we had Easter Bunny, but it was just chocolate hidden around the house, like a scavenger
Oh no, we had
hunt.
like stockings.
Oh no, we did not do. See, my family never did that.
Okay, yeah.
So it was funny. So my mom goes, you know what? It's so funny. I actually have such like not like peace, but like love the way that we did it because we didn't go overboard, but you guys still felt very
like
spoiled.
You don't
know, right?
Yeah, you don't
know that a chocolate costs $1 versus like a full gift is $100, you know, kind of thing.
It's also like set the expectation young.
Totally.
Like if I had never had Easter presents, I would never expect them. But I think obviously because I had them, I always expected them.
Sure.
And then it's almost like worse. You can't take it away once you've offered it.
That was my thing. I was confused when I had the conversation, say, with my friends I would go to school with, and they'd be like, yeah, the Easter Bunny brought me like this. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, and it wasn't even like, oh, well, I only got a chocolate, but I was like, oh, that's weird. The Easter Bunny doesn't bring me like a camera. He just brings me like penny chocolate, you know?
Oh my
like,
God, that's so funny. That's funny.
But, yeah, no, it's interesting.
Humbling, really.
No, truly humble beginnings for sure.
That's so funny.
No, I'm happy with the way that like we felt so spoiled as kids. You don't really have an idea about any of that stuff.
We always were like allowed to choose like one iconic gift like from Santa. Like we'd obviously get like the side pieces. I mean, at 23, my biggest gift was a Costco membership, and honestly, stellar.
That is a great
like
gift.
love that gift. Thanks, Mom. But back in the day, like we would always request insane things things. Like one year my sister got like a full on like new saddle for her horse, which is like crazy. Oh my god, like 10,000.
Oh my goodness.
More. Maybe that's a lie, but they're so pricey. It's like the leather freaking.
Oh my god, y'all, I want your Santa.
I mean, I don't know.
My Santa was not bringing that.
Hey, I never got a saddle. Dad, comment below. How much is a horse saddle? I don't know, but they're in the thousands. Yeah. They're like expensive. But again, it was like you get that one special thing, and it usually was like in support of our like dream. So like. Okay. The horse thing, obviously my sister had a horse, like this was her like dream. She was like going to Ireland to train horses. My brother got like a 3D printer one year because he was like so keen on engineering and like cool doing it. Yeah, so it was always like I would get like, you know, a new pair of point shoes or like, it was always in support. Yeah, it was always in support of the passion. Like the guitar, I was like music, even though never learned.
Reminds me like Hannah Montana.
Yeah, but it was like always in support of something. It wasn't just like, oh, here's like,
Yeah, well also I'm of the belief like it's whatever family's money, like you spend your money how you want to, you do Christmas how you want to kind of thing.
Totally.
But I think that's a really like refreshing perspective too, to be like, okay, yeah, we're gonna invest into their dance or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's also interesting too, because my mom was saying because she sometimes actually struggled with the idea. I mean, I think we're very similar. I'm very similar to my mom as I grow up and the way that we think about a lot of these things. She goes, I struggled with the idea of like all of these very commercialized holidays, which I know internally was just to push consumerism and to buy products and to XYZ. And she goes, and I was always much more of the mindset, I would rather you guys not like be spoiled throughout the year, but things like instead of doing big gifts all at one holiday, say, well, I'm buying your dance lessons throughout the year. And then your gymnastics, like you're blessed in all these other ways that you don't really realize.
And that stuff is so expensive. I literally don't know how families do it. It's wildly expensive.
And then beyond just the financial commitment, also the time commitment. Like,
oh my God.
I think back to, I literally think my mom is superhuman, and I feel like everybody's mom is like this. Like there's something about moms. Like, I mean, I guess also could be dads in the family, depends the dynamic or whatever. But my mom was such a super mom, and she would wake us up at 7 a.m., get us all dressed, like getting babies showered and like children, like that's just a lot of effort.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Then drop us off to school, do a full day of work, then come home, make us dinner. Like she would pack our lunches every morning, then whip me up to dance class, then drive me to Toronto for an audition, then come home and clean that. Like I do not understand.
It's actually shocking. And
how do they, like, I cannot.
I'm exhausted and I do like 1/4 of that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Is it just like when the pressure gets higher, you just rise to the occasion?
I think so.
Because that seems, I could
because
not do
you
that.
don't have a choice. It's like,
you just do or
if
die,
you want your kids to have that life, then
to be hygienic and to clean them.
Yeah, and to be happy ultimately. I mean, no, it's true. The driving commitment alone, like being dropped off at like hockey, my sister and my brother would be at karate and I'd be at dance like every day. Like I don't know how.
And also like
shouts out mom and dad, you killed it.
Honestly, truly. And then on top of that, like my mom being like, okay, Jaclyn, you have this thing due today. Make sure you get it done.
Yeah,
and
how do you even know?
Then making sure the right dance costume was brought here. Like
to moms everywhere.
Micromanaging everything.
Yeah,
it's really one of those things. And I feel like my mom would always say growing up, oh, Jaclyn, you'll appreciate it. You'll get it when you're older. And I was like, Mom, but I do appreciate it in the moment. But as a kid, there's no way for you to have that perspective. Now, I'm like, what?
Yeah, how did you do this?
I honestly, I don't think I could ever be a mom. Like, if I would be a mom, I'd want to be that type of mom, and I don't think I could be that type of mom. I don't think I have that in me.
Really? I could totally be that type of mom, I think.
I wish I could, but I could never be as great as my mom.
I don't know if I could be as great, but I could try.
Put forth my best effort.
Yeah. I feel like I've always been someone that's actually more efficient the busier I am. So I could see it happening, but I do believe there's like a level of burnout that has got to happen to moms everywhere.
I mean, I guess you're right. It is one of those things, I think, when you have a plate full, you kind of get into that hyper-focus mode.
Yeah.
But then when you're out of it, like, well, it's like even when I was sick for that week, I was like, I'm exhausted and I've done nothing all day.
Yeah.
Your body just adapts
gets more
to it.
Tired,
Well, yeah, when you're busy, it adapts to it, but then when you're doing nothing, it
also adapts to it.
Totally.
Yeah.
So maybe
it's also just like a weird thing that we're at a stage where all the shifts are happening. Like one of our best friends got engaged right before we all went on holiday.
Oh yeah, that was exciting.
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, that's weird. Like to be in a stage where a best friend in your immediate circle is getting married is just like, oh, I'm old.
Well, we also had a little bit of stress about this because you found out. We thought, I mean, none of us expected to know before it happened. We thought it was going to happen around Christmas. And our friend kind of was like, had been talking about engagement for a while and really wanted it. And you didn't think you were going to find out, but then you found out a week before her
it was shocking.
Fiance had mentioned it to you, and then you were stressed out.
Well, I don't
What was that experience like?
Yeah, it's here's the thing. It's really hard to have someone else's like secret when it's such a big moment for
and
them.
you didn't ask for it. You didn't want to receive the
I didn't
secret.
ask for it. I didn't ask. I didn't necessarily want to know. Firstly, because I thought it would be an amazing experience for her to get to share that with the group.
Sure.
And secondly, like I wanted her to be able to enjoy all of our reactions to the moment.
Sure, you don't want to take that away from her. That moment of being like, here's my name.
and I know her fiance quite well, but I also wasn't necessarily expecting to be let in on it. I don't know why I thought that, but I just like thought I wouldn't be let in on it. So then when he did tell me, and it was kind of like under the table, like she was actually in the house, and he like showed me the phone, and it was like a picture of the ring.
Out of context.
Yeah, and then he's like Friday, and like said the day that he was gonna do it, and so I was like left there sitting on this couch with her right upstairs, and I just it's not the moment I thought I was gonna find out.
Like, I want to scream, but I can't.
Yeah. And then also the day of, I kind of had to do the like call SOS to all the girls to get us all together so that we could all celebrate with her because he was like, oh, I want everyone there because we were going to surprise her. So it ended up being like this funny kind of like scenario that I would not have pictured. I mean, it all worked out so well that we were all there to celebrate and it was so great. But it's just like one of those things. It would be the same if like I knew someone was pregnant before I was supposed to.
Yeah.
Like you almost feel like weird knowing the secret.
I'm also the same way. I don't like to know people's secrets. And I also feel like, I don't know about you, but I feel like a lot of people, I'm someone that people confide in a lot.
Yeah.
So I feel like I end up like grabbing a lot of
secrets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like people tell me things like, I don't want to hear it. Like, la, 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 I don't want to know. And and I mean, I have to say, I think as much as I am a loudmouth, I'm pretty good at not saying anything or like not alluding to the fact that I do know people's secrets.
Right.
But in 2020, I want to remove that cap.
Yeah.
Don't tell me your secrets. Anyone listening, do not confide in me. I don't want to know. That's unnecessary turmoil, and I don't want to.
Yeah, I agree. I don't, there's like, I'm not harboring any right now, which is lovely. That one was hard, and I still told Adam.
And
you.
Like, as soon as you left.
And you. But that's fine. Two people, and you're the people that I would only confide in, so I guess I did a good job. I told my boyfriend and my best friend.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's like, and I told my parents.
We are harboring
and
secrets.
I told my parents.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
okay,
that's
maybe
also
I
a lie.
am really
We're also
bad.
harboring another secret.
That's true. So we're just harboring secrets all right, left, and center. I do hate it. It does give me a certain level of anxiety.
But then on the flip side, I hate when people dangle information in my face and then won't tell me and be like, I know something that you don't know, and then like I'm like, hey, well, just tell me that. Like,
I
it's
agree.
like just don't acknowledge it.
Don't
acknowledge
acknowledge it at all, or I agree.
It's like people that dangle things like that. That's so annoying.
They were talking about it at dinner last night. I was out with a few friends, and they were like, I really hate when people go on social media and they're like, big news coming, and I was like, that's so true. Like, it's like,
tell me when it's
tell
there.
the news when it's there to be shared. Otherwise, keep it to yourself. And I think like that's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Now I'm just like, I'm getting a little stressed thinking about everything.
But it's fine. Anyways, the long and short of it was we're getting old, friends are getting engaged, soon they'll be having babies, and we'll just be aunts.
I know, getting older is something so interesting. I was actually reading a thread on Reddit the other day, and it was what was it? I'm gonna forget the main slogan. Like, what's something that you didn't, give me a minute. It'll come to me. This is my...
If only I could speak English.
Oh, what's something that you thought was true as a child, but then realized
wasn't? Like a fallacy?
Like something like your family did and you thought that was the way that it worked, but then as you got older, you realized that wasn't how the whole world worked or whatever.
Oh, do you have an example of that?
No, so I mean, I don't have a personal example, but something like, oh, my whole life, I thought it was...
my whole life,
I'm gonna throw something under the bus, but then it actually turned out to be throw something under the bus, and like their whole family said it wrong.
I've had moments like that.
Or you thought this is how XYZ always worked, and then you realize you go to school and you're like, oh, no one else does that.
Oh, no, I definitely had things like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of an example. I mean, one example was, I think I've even shared this on the podcast, that I used to think like, like a wreath, like at Christmas time.
Oh.
When I was a kid, my brother's name is Reese.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was a Reese.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what? It's a wreath?
Yeah.
And like, you have those like aha moments of like, oh, I'm literally an idiot. Yeah.
I remember, this isn't like exactly, I mean, not like a word thing like that, but as a child, I didn't understand that some people didn't eat breakfast. And I know this sounds like really random and trivial, but we were such a family that would wake up every morning. The first thing we would do as a family is my mom would my dad would normally be off to work, but my mom and my brother, we would have like a morning breakfast. And we'd always, and my brother wasn't a big breakfast eater. Like, he's not someone, as an adult now, he doesn't eat breakfast.
Yeah.
But my mom, even as a kid, would like make him have a little bowl of cereal or something to have something in his stomach. And she would always be like, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, blah, blah, blah. And then, so I assumed, like, I thought every human had to eat breakfast. Like, I don't know who was enforcing it, what the rules were, but I thought, like, as a human, you need to wake up and eat breakfast.
Interesting.
And I didn't understand that there was an option to, like, you could
Miss
just
it?
not eat breakfast. And it was more when I would go to school, and, like, my good friend Courtney, like, she was not a huge breakfast person. And she'd be like, oh, yeah, like, have a little, like, something for lunch, and, like, but it'll be like, I'm kind of hungry, I'm like, why are you hungry? Like, we just, like, got to school, like, what? And, like, she would never eat breakfast, and I didn't understand how that was allowed.
Yeah. That's funny that even to this day, you're still such a breakfast person.
I am.
So your mom really?
Well, it's weird, though. I talk about this all the time. Like, the nature versus nurture argument is something that's very interesting because I look a lot to my patterns and what my interests and just how I behave as a human, and I go, I can totally see the correlation between my mom. I think I'm very similar to her.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, is that because it's inherently in my DNA and we just share very similar, like, whether it's interests or instincts or things like that? Or is it because that's the pattern I was raised in?
No, I think that's totally nurture, like what she's done.
But then listen to this, though. This is where I completely disagree. My brother and me were raised the exact same way. We're only a year apart. Whether it's food we like, behaviors, me and Harrison are completely opposite. But we were raised so attentively by my mother in the exact same way. So how is that?
Well, I don't know, maybe you just accepted her more.
Maybe, I don't know. Like, I even think simple things like food choices. Like, Harrison always hated eating salads or vegetables or things like that, and I'm someone, like, I love doing it, but I can totally see because my mom was someone that loved eating salads and vegetables, so she would always, like have a big bowl, so I would copy her and eat a big bowl of salad.
I mean, I guess it's a combo, right? It's like it's always going to be both.
Yeah, you can never isolate one to figure out the other. It is so fascinating.
Yeah. But, like, think about it this way. Like, let's say, yes, you were, like, born from your same parents, but then let's say in a wild universe you were, like, put up for adoption and then raised by another mom. I guarantee you would be different, even based on the fact that
I would be more similar to the adopted mother than my
Like, I feel like the nature in which you were brought up in, like, you were inspired by so much of what your mom does. That doesn't necessarily mean that, like, the DNA is, like, why you love vegetables.
Well, I wonder if you have kind of all the, and this is very non-scientific speak of this, but you have all these little, like, precursors for all these behaviors.
Well, exactly.
And then if it's ignited at a young age, then that becomes a bigger part of you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%. It's like already
like
slightly a part of you.
You have those predispositions, but if it's not triggered by a certain age,
then you'll
maybe
never,
you'll never kind of
lean into it. Right.
Yeah,
like, I run away from everyone at the airport, and my mom used to do this. Like, so not even at the airport is a good example. Essentially, it leads back to my impatience. No, it leads back to my general impatience in life and the fact that I literally hate slow people and I don't like people wasting my time. That's the core of this.
Okay.
However, that whatever that is, that energy, anxiety, whatever that you want to call it, is brought up in specific scenarios. One of them being airports. So in an airport, if I'm, like, let's say traveling with my whole family, which we were in Mexico, like, my mom and I would often be caught, like, at the front of the line, way ahead of everyone. We'll run ahead at security, like, we'll just, like, be gone. We're gone. Our work here is done. And everyone else is, like, moseying along. And it's like, I wonder, am I like that? Because my mom was always like that when I was a kid. And so I now do it to Adam. Like, I'll literally ditch him in an airport. And he's like, you're being Tracy. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I can't even help it. Like, I need to get out of here. I'm doing what I know I need to do. And it's funny because I always used to, like, make fun of her for it when I was, like, in my younger years. I'd be like, oh my God, here mom goes running away again. And I'm like, that's so funny. Like, now I do it. Like, I'm like, I gotta go. Gotta go.
I think that is totally, you see what is acceptable by your parents and you go, okay, well, that is what is acceptable. My mom does that. That's what's right. So I'm going to do that. That is the exact same thing. Me and my damn Dyson.
Or you know it's not right. Like, you consciously are like, this isn't good.
But that's just how it is because you see your
mom
doing it. Exactly. Well, this is me and my vacuum situation. When I lived with growing up, my mom was, like, a very clean person, very minimalist. Like, the house was always clean and vacuumed, and that was my mom's thing. And she would lose her mind if, like, she couldn't be a normal functioning human if the house was dirty. Like, that's her one thing. And I kind of get that now. I'm not as clean as she is, but now I see my behaviors. I'm like, okay, is this instilled in me because this is how I was brought up, or is it like an urge that I need to now vacuum my house, like, whenever.
Because she's not there to do it.
Yeah, I have, like, a bunch of girlfriends over. I noticed the other day I had a bunch of my makeup friends from makeup school over. We were all catching up. It was a super lovely night. And as soon as they left, it's like exactly what my mom would do: vacuum the house, wipe down the bathroom, like, clean it, like.
Oh, that's weird.
And that's exactly what my mom did. So I think it's me just. In my brain, I go, that's what I do when someone leaves. I just clean and tidy everything up. And but then it's like I couldn't go to bed if I didn't do it.
Oh, that's like OCD then. That's like further than just. Yeah, if you're mentally stuck, like I believe
it would give me more peace if I was like, I just want to, like, clean it up.
That's
like,
a
I
level of
couldn't feel
OCD.
comfortable if
Yeah,
it
that's a
was
level of OCD.
kind of dirty still.
It's like the same idea of like your day would go differently if you didn't do something, which I don't have that. Like if I had to like,
I guess I'm more like that then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes that'll, yeah.
Yeah, that's OCD.
Well, you heard it here first. I have been diagnosed live on the pod.
Well, I mean,
I'm sure. I think I honestly probably
it's
have a lot of
functioning OCD because it's like it's not stopping your day to day, but if it's affecting how you necessarily think, if your like mind feels more jumbled or you're like unaware of how, like for example, if I were to like leave a bunch of lights on and like leave a bunch of things, I wouldn't even like think about it. I would literally go on.
Yeah,
with my
that
day.
does bother me. But it's not an OCD. It's just like for me, it's okay. Why would I leave electricity on and kill the environment more?
It's a bad example, but I'm just saying the fact that it's even like going into your head and becoming more of a thought is a form of OCD.
I don't think so. I think that's just being a human.
No, that's a level of
I think
commitment to what you're thinking of.
But I think that's normal to be conscious of what you're doing, don't you?
It's normal to be conscious, but to have
I think OCD is
if you're lying in bed thinking about it, I would argue that that's OCD. If you didn't clean the bathroom,
that's just being mindful.
Okay, I totally disagree.
I think I also just don't feel like adequate to be like, oh, I have OCD. Like I think that's another level that I don't think I honestly don't think I am. But I think there are certain things that I choose to be extra mindful about and like think something like turning the lights off before I leave the house. But that's also, again, my mom was always like that.
Yeah.
My grandpa's like that. So maybe it's just like a behavioral thing that, okay, before I leave, I think, oh, did I leave any lights on? Then I'll go and run and turn them off.
It could not only even be cleaning though. I'm just saying in general, the idea that like not doing something, like the general diagnosis would be like, if I didn't touch this light or do that certain form of thing.
But that's not what it is. It's not like a touch or an itch. But think, it's like if you were, it's no different than I say brushing your teeth. If you were to leave the house and not brush your teeth, you would feel some type of way. You go, oh, I should go and brush my teeth. That's not OCD. That's just a behavior that you want to continue. So you're conscious when you don't do it. You know what I'm saying?
We can just agree to disagree. I just disagree. That's all. I'll leave it at that.
I will say the vacuum thing is another level, but that is inherited from my
I'm just saying if you're lying in bed and you're going, fuck, I didn't vacuum and clean the bathroom and that's affecting how you're falling asleep, that's more into your head than what a normal person would think of. That's what I'm trying to say.
But if you...
It could go through my head. It could be like, oh, I need to vacuum. But then I forget about it and then I go to sleep and I'm not thinking about it. I'm saying the thought process.
You know what? There could be some merit to what you're saying, but...
The thought process is deeper than just being mindful. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you can be mindful and be like, fuck, I left that light on. I better like do that. But there's a difference between lying in bed at night and going, I just
love my Dyson so much.
Yeah.
I would not be able to live without my Dyson.
This is the first debate of 2020. Does Jaclyn suffer from a level of OCD? Maybe not. Comment below.
Honestly, Dyson, if you're watching this, we actually have some available ad reads. I would love to talk about your Dyson in a more specific way. So reach out if you want to sponsor an episode.
Oh my God.
That would be a dream sponsor on the pod.
Yeah.
Dyson. Why would they even need sponsors?
I'm
giving them a free ad anyways. We can create a jingle for you, Dyson.
Wow.
I'm invested in your company and your beliefs. Also, Dyson hair dryer. They just make such great products. Honestly, they really do.
Yeah, true that.
I was someone that at first when I got the Dyson hair dryer, I was gifted it. I do want to be clear, I did not pay $600 for a hair dryer because on a personal level, that does seem a little crazy.
Did you buy the vacuum?
No, that was also gifted, but we used to have one at our home, like our family one. Like my mom had gone through 3 or 4 and I had talked about my loves. They're like, do you want one for your new condo? And I was like, Dyson, I would die. But the hair dryer, I mean, it was something, I would buy it anyways because that's how essential it is. And I do recommend it to everyone. But the hair dryer is something that I probably wouldn't buy on my own.
Okay.
I would have never bought it. But now that I have it, and at first I was like, it's just a regular hair dryer. And they walk you through all the science of it because Dyson is so innovative and they have all these whatever claims and years of research. And I was never really kind of falling for that with the hair dryer. I'm like, it's just hot air that's blowing out of a machine. Like, it doesn't matter if it's coming from this hair dryer or this hair dryer. But I have to say, in recent months, I've really been like, oh, it is like, I can't even necessarily put my finger on it. It's quieter, it's quicker, it's more efficient. And I do think that my hair is less damaged from it.
Well, there you go.
Again, an ad
that
for
was
Dyson.
shocking how much you talked
Sorry,
about it.
I honestly just really am here for Dyson as a brand.
So I think it's time for roses and thorns.
Already?
First of the decade.
Of 2020.
Kick it off.
Guess what? I read something. Make sure you never date any papers or anything. Like, just, you know when you're writing the date and you would just put 19 for 2019?
Yeah.
Don't just put 20 because then anyone can change the date and put 20 2018 or backdate something. So always put 2020 when you're writing the dates. Do you know
That
what
would
I'm
be
saying?
savage if someone was backdating your work.
But they could, because if you just put 20, it would leave room for interpretation for 2019 or 2016 or whatever. So always put 2020.
Stunning,
Add that.
guys. Lessons
Everyone
on the
listening,
pod.
PSA, date your dates fully.
Date your dates fully.
Now, and then it's also like if I'm talking about the 20s, am I talking about 1920 now or 2020? It's a crazy time we live in.
It is. It's the the roaring 20s.
I am distracted. I'm in such a good mood today. This glass, Kate.
But you keep putting your foot on it.
I want to put my feet up and I want to leisure, and it's not letting me leisure. Sorry, roses and thorns. The first thorn of 2019. I'm in such a good headspace, can't even have a thorn. I know I need to come up with them. Oh, I'll say one. So my daily journal, I do every morning, the 5-minute journal, which is like a little gratefulness, mindfulness journal.
Yeah.
And as silly as it sounds, I do think it's like a really positive thing that kind of sets my day on the right track. And I actually finished my journal finally.
Nice.
And it's one of those things, you could definitely do it just on like a piece of paper, but I like the way like the prompts are written out and it just makes it a bit easier. So I'm like, oh, I kind of like either need to get a new one. So I haven't been doing it for the past few days. So that's a thorn that I finished that book up. But I did really enjoy that. A rose is that I'm actually back to health. It always whenever I'm sick, I don't know if I was talking to you about this, but it really is such a reminder. You're like, I do take for granted just my everyday health.
Totally.
And how able I am as a person. Because I think if I am this miserable and this much of a train wreck when I just have a cold, can you imagine people that deal with whether it's chronic illnesses or autoimmune diseases or things that affect their everyday life that I can't even relate to because I'm so fortunate to feel healthy every day.
I know.
So it really just that week I was like, damn, I like it's like
Keep writing in your gratitude journal.
no, but seriously, I was like, it's like whenever you even just have your stuffy nose, you're like, I will be so grateful when I can breathe again through my nose. But then once you breathe again through your nose, you're like, oh, it's just normal.
I'm just breathing.
Exactly. But I really do want to make a point to say that a rose is my health being back.
Stunning.
Another rose is, I actually am really, oh, that's more of a rosebud. Okay, I'll say my rose. I am really excited about January. That's my rosebud.
That was shocking.
I did say that in a crazy way. I'm too happy. I'm too chipper to be back. So yeah, there's a lot of, I feel like January is normally like a lull kind of a month, but there's a lot of little exciting things coming up and things are coming soon. There you go. I said your favorite thing. Coming soon. Yeah.
Big news coming soon. It's so annoying.
And one more rose. Let me think. Well, this is a double-edged sword. Rose is that it's not blizzarding yet, and normally it's really bad in Toronto. Thorn to that is that climate change is real. But yeah, moving on.
Wow. Thorn, mine is like slightly trivial, but you know, that's a part of our rule. I don't have my nails done right now, and I like ripped off my acrylics, which is so unlike me, but I just couldn't do it anymore. And they're just
these
fucked.
look like jaclyn nails.
Yeah, they're fucked.
When I peel off my
They're
nail
not
polish.
good, not cute, just dutty wind. And yeah.
That is so unlike you. You shame me for peeling
No,
off
this
all my
is
nails.
very unlike me and not the person that I want to be seen as in society. So I will be going today
This is
to
a
get my
huge character
nails.
flaw that I will not let stick.
Yeah, I'm gonna get I have a photo shoot tomorrow, so I want them not to look like this. So I'm gonna definitely get them.
This looks sore.
I'm gonna get them done. So yeah, Rose, I will say, yeah, similar to you, like just like. It's weird when you go on break for 2 weeks and you don't know what's on the other side of it. Like, will I work again? Like, is this the end of my career?
Yeah, that's
and
the
it's
nature
always
of
just
being self-employed.
Totally.
Too. You're like, is anything gonna ever
happen
my way
to me again? Yeah. And I think it was like really refreshing to like pop back into the work week and just have like kind of a slew of exciting things coming up, and very grateful for that. So self-employment is going strong. Another rose is that I have a bit of a tan. Like I feel like, you know, everyone's prettier with a tan, and
that's a statement.
No, like
you feel better with a tan. Let's correct that.
Fair. I mean more like a glow. Like I don't mean like
when you feel healthy, you radiate.
Yeah,
healthiness,
like
yeah.
I feel like a nice sun-kissed glow literally looks good on everyone. Like it's just nice. Like you look like kissed, you know, by the sun.
That is one thing that I wish I wasn't. I didn't create such a strong correlation because personally I'm someone that does feel better with a tan as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're both people that tan fairly naturally by being out in the sun. So whenever we travel, like and get that healthy glow that I feel like I need sometimes, it does boost my confidence. And it's one like very superficial thing that I wish I didn't have such a strong tie to, but I also feel that way. I feel much healthier, and I personally
I think that's what I tie it to. Like, I feel like it looks really healthy on people. Like, when you have that like sort of like glow, you're like, oh, they look so healthy.
Yeah, I agree. I wish I wasn't like that, but damn, I love me a good tan on myself.
So that's a little bit of a rose as well. Rose, but although it's gonna fade so fast, you know.
Oh, and then there goes the confidence.
Yeah.
When my tan fades, so does my
Rosebud is, we're going back to Lake Louise, which like both of us had been last year. Yeah. And then now it's like we get to have this comeback, and both of us didn't go with each other. I was there with my boyfriend and you were there on a work trip. But yeah, so we're going to get to go in Feb, which will be super fun.
Yeah, actually, you know what? One of my goals of life too is to like vlog, I guess, more when I do these fun travels, because I kind of got to a point where I was vlogging, like doing weekly vlogs and like just almost filming too much of my life, that I'm so like extreme in the sense I'm either like all in or all out.
Right.
So I was like, I'm done vlogging these trips. Like, I feel like I can't be present and enjoy it, but that's because I was overkill.
Overdoing it.
But now I kind of like, especially as I was reevaluating my 2020, like more business goals and more YouTube goals and work goals and things like that.
Yeah.
I do want to be more conscious and mindful of even, because I think I always would make things a production. I'd be like, oh, I want to just film it on my good camera, so I'll bring my big DSLR, my lens. But it's like, then it makes it so much effort, and then it does take you out of the moment, and then you can't enjoy it. You cannot enjoy it as much. So one of my goals is to like just bring the little small camera or film on your iPhone and like just film what you can. And if you don't film something, whatever. If not, it's the personal archives of home videos. Then it doesn't need to always turn into a video for YouTube.
Yeah.
But I think we're really blessed with cool experiences, so it's just nice to capture it. I think we're gonna have a really fun time. We're gonna go on Sunshine Trail in Lake Louise. What was it called? That really scary hill?
Lake Louise.
No,
that's called Lake Louise.
No, I don't think you're listening to what I'm saying. The ski trail that you
went called on. Lake Louise.
The one that you wanted to go on, but didn't you go on the other one?
I went on Lake Louise. You keep asking me the same question. The ski hill I went on was Lake Louise Mountain.
But can you answer the question?
What's the question?
There's two ski hills, and one is the easier one, and one's not as easy. Lake Louise is the one that you
and the
went
one
on.
You just said, Sunshine.
Okay, that was the question. I just wanted you to confirm. Is it called Sunshine?
There's two, Lake Louise and Sunshine.
Damn! Oh my God, I'm pulling teeth over here.
It's Lake Louise.
Okay, this was fun. I'm so happy to be back. I'm feeling vibrant.
Yeah, we were just fighting this whole episode, so now you know we're zesty in 2020.
Fighting. You want to know? I feel like people can't have real discussions nowadays. I think it's healthy to disagree. I think it's healthy to debate.
I agree.
I know you personally agree, and that's why we can.
I know you personally agree.
But you know,
I believe in a good debate.
Yeah, I would actually hate a friend that was like, yes. Yeah, I agree.
I think it's also just knowing the line. Like, I'm very clear at being like, I can agree with you to disagree. Like, I know when to stop. And it's like, we will never agree.
I don't know when to stop.
I know.
That's a problem.
You push it. And I'm like, dude, we don't agree. That's it. It's just like, and you'll never change my mind.
That's my problem. I actually want to change people's minds, which I think is unhealthy. I'm like that with like, especially my mom. She calls me out on that a lot, which is good. I need her to check me in place sometimes. But
you think your truth is the truth.
Not that I think it's the truth, but I feel sometimes like people aren't understanding what I'm saying. And it's okay if you understand and disagree, that's one thing. But sometimes I feel like people aren't understanding and then they disagree. I'm like, if you at least can show to me that you understand what I'm saying and disagree, I can accept that. You don't need to agree, but you need to understand what I'm saying.
Okay, I don't even feel that way. If people disagree with me, I'm just like, you are wrong. And I'll just be okay.
It depends. If it's someone I value and I know has the intelligence or the mental capacity to grasp what I'm saying, not that I don't speak in code or anything, but like, if someone I think should understand what I'm saying and they're not understanding, that is a frustration of mine.
Interesting.
It's like, just understand what I'm saying, and then I get frustrated. I need to be better about that in 2022.
Interesting. Just let it go.
I think a lot of these episodes are just like a therapy session for me, and people can use a lot of what I say.
I'm just like very much into like the positive, like stay in my own lane this year. Like some people were like talking about other people recently, and I literally actively in a group was like, I don't want to talk badly about someone. I'm going to walk away. And I said that outwardly and walked away.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? I'm not down for this energy. And I feel like I'm like at a place in my life where I don't need to like sugarcoat it. It's like, if I don't want to talk about that, then that's cool. I can literally just be an adult and walk away.
I think that's actually really positive too, to vocalize that, because I think sometimes in those types of situations, if I don't feel like it's worth the effort to say anything, I'll just not engage in the conversation. But something that I think I really came to terms with is by me not engaging or not being vocal, that's actually making a statement.
LOL. Thanks. She finally learns the lesson.
What?
No, that you do that. So you sometimes won't stand up for people. Like you'll be quiet, which is like fine, but it's still a statement in itself by not saying anything.
Sure,
Right.
yes.
And I'm very opposite in that, where I'm very like, I will literally just say it and be like.
So I feel like sometimes I'll be like, oh, is it worth having that discussion? I don't think it's going to have a positive outcome, so I'm just going to step back. But I think actually one of my goals,
it's a lot harder to be confrontational, though. That's just actively, it's more challenging to put yourself on the line and come up with a stance and be like, this is where I stand.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't want to like talk shit about this person. I'm going to actively tell everyone I don't want to talk shit about them.
No, it's not that I have a problem. Like, I'm completely fine with being confrontational. I just sometimes don't know if it's worth the effort. But I actually have come to realize, I think in 2020, it is worth the effort.
It is worth it.
Yeah.
It is worth it. It always is.
We're going to be better people this year.
Yeah.
We're going to put out better vibes. Oh, the video's dead. Better vibes for 2019, 2020. I'm confused. Whatever. We're ending without videos, so sorry to YouTube watchers, but thank you for watching.
But that's a good message for everyone. It's always worth standing up for a friend or being loud and in charge when you want to be. So don't be silent. That's also a statement.
Be self-aware and know your place. And with that, we out.
Bye.
First episode done.